loneliness, tiredness, mountains and mountains of workload, anxiety, stress, frustration, apathy, giving up. These are the signs of teacher burnout. Hello, my name is Maisa, and I am presenting a topic that is relatable to us teachers: teaching burnout and shortage of teachers. In this presentation, I will be defining what is burnout, the symptoms of burnout in the context of teaching, what causes teacher burnout, the consequences if this issue is not addressed appropriately, and prevention and intervention that can be done to mitigate and reduce the effects of teacher burnout. Lastly, a conclusion to my presentation and references that I've used for this presentation. What is burnout? Burnout has been described as a psychological syndrome resulting from long-term exposure to chronic stresses experienced on the job. In the context of teaching, teachers can experience burnout. When teachers experience burnout, the classroom cannot be effectively conducted, thus reduce classroom effectiveness. When classroom is not conducted effectively, teachers will lose self-confidence and has reduced self-efficacy, therefore causing efficacy breakdown or efficacy crisis. When teachers started to lose their confidence in the profession, starts to lose their confidence in their skills, they will see that they are not fit for the profession, therefore choosing to leave the education sphere. The phrase of teacher burnout and teacher shortage has been mentioned frequently in the modern era. Teachers have been leaving schools in abundance in big numbers that are alarming and worrying. Teacher burnout is a global issue. As UNESCO estimated, 69 million teachers will be needed worldwide by 2030 to meet educational demands. Yet, if this issue is not addressed appropriately, more teachers will be leaving the education sphere, increasing the need for teachers to the point where there'll be no more or not enough teachers to meet the educational demand worldwide. So what are the symptoms of teacher burnout? There are a few symptoms that can look out for teachers who experience some level of teacher burnout. Feeling frequently worn out, lack of job satisfaction, feeling as if the job is not satisfying anymore, lack of accomplishment, lack of acknowledgement from the school for your efforts and your time and energy invested in this job, reduced productivity and increased absenteeism, feeling not as productive in school, feeling as though you don't feel the need to come to school. You can skip out on school or not come on time or not come to school at all. Cynicism towards one's job, feeling cynical towards your job, feeling as if your job is not a good job or a worthy job or a job that no one wants to take. Physical and mental health difficulties, showing signs of frequent sickness, mentally and physically. Frequent feelings of sadness, despair, hopelessness, and anxiety. And lastly, feeling overwhelmed with the work, choosing to self-isolate from colleagues and students, and withdraw themselves out of the work environment. These are some of the symptoms of teacher burnout. So what causes teacher burnout? What are the factors that affects teachers to feel burnt out from this occupation and the need to leave the occupation for themselves? So some of the causes are high workload and demand, where teachers are spending so much time at work meeting really high demands or high expectations from employers or for a high expectation from parents as well. Long working hours and overcommitment. This is an effect of the first cause, where if there's too much workload, then teachers tend to do overtime and extend their working hours, therefore making long working hours. And they also overcommit by bringing work during their off days or during holidays. Therefore, teachers are unable to find time for themselves, to detach themselves from work, to have a safe space to recover, a safe space to detach from the job. So inability to emotionally detach from the job due to the high demands, or they're causing them to not have a safe space for themselves, that not have a space to recover from the stresses of the job, the stresses, the external stresses from other people. Therefore, it could cause a burnout as well, where they feel as if their emotional needs are secondary towards the job. Lack of confidence in adapting technology. Currently, technology has been integrated to education ever since. And for teachers who are struggling to adapt, they could feel as if they are not suitable to teach in the current era. Then they started to lose their self-confidence, they start to lose self-efficacy. Therefore, teachers choose to leave the profession. Secondary exposure to trauma. When teachers are not well equipped when dealing with trauma, then teachers would have a hard time regulating their emotions when exposed to traumas of students. Lack of emotional preparedness, when, as I mentioned, teachers are not well equipped in dealing with being exposed to frequent trauma from students. They themselves feel as if they are not fit to deal with this type of environment, a high stress and high trauma environment. Therefore, they choose to leave the profession. Lack of general support from school administration. If school administration does not acknowledge or they not acknowledge teachers' accomplishments, teachers' efforts, uh, or does not provide equipment or provide adequate resources such as a good maintained classroom or a good maintained office space or a good maintained uh, eating space for teachers, then it could cause frustration to the teachers as well. Then this frustration could lead to teacher burnout and thus teacher uh, leaving the profession. And lastly, internal personal issues. This is more related to the teacher themselves. Either they have their own personal issues or they more to age related. They're in the age to retire, or they're in the age to the age to retire, or they're having familial issues. That one is more on the teacher side, but the rest can be caused by the external factors. So we now are exposed to causes that could cause teaching burnout. What happens if all parties involved do not regard teacher burnout as an issue? Do not think that teacher burnout is something that we should put our resources in with our patient pay attention of. Teacher can just deal with it. What happens? Well, the consequences of that is the one major thing is the loss of experienced teachers and professional knowledge. When experienced teachers choose to retire early or choose to leave the profession, period, we lose professional skills in order to conduct and teach a classroom, in order to conduct and educate students. And when we lose precious skills, what comes are issues of students not being managed or educated properly. Exacerbation of teacher shortage. There's a reason why this topic has been brought up as of late. Teachers are leaving the profession in big numbers. When teachers choose to leave in masses, it will worsen the teacher shortage issue. If teacher burnout is not addressed properly, then teacher shortage will happen. And when teacher shortage is not addressed properly as well, then it will just worsen the issue to the point where there'll be not enough teachers to educate the students. And not only this affects the schools or the student or the teachers, it also affects the students as well. If there are not enough experienced teachers conducting the classroom has a possibility of not being conducted effectively. So there's reduced classroom effectiveness. There's an also increased negative student behavior when less experienced teachers couldn't handle trauma or conflict that is happening with the students. Therefore, student behavior will just be less regulated and cause more student behavior issues in the school. Lower academic achievement and motivation. When there's lack of teachers at conducting classes in school or less teachers in the school, the students will have less motivation to come to school, will have less motivation to excel, will have less motivation to see the importance of education. We as teachers are guiders, are there as guidance to remind them that education is important, that being well informed is important to function in a society. And if we choose to leave the profession, then what's going to happen to the students? Who's going to tell them that, hey, education is important? education is what you need in order to excel in life. Yes. Not only that, on the school's perspective, there will be increased staff turnover. I mean, a lot of staff will leave the school and causing the internal structure of the school to be more burdened by less workers. Harmful effects on teachers' well-being. Well, as I mentioned, one of the symptoms of teacher burnout is experiencing physical and mental health problems, health issues, and high stress could also cause physical issues, the cardiovascular system, and decrease teacher job satisfaction. When teacher burnout is not being addressed properly, then teachers would see that their job is not worth it, is not as satisfying as they expect it to be, is not worth staying on a job that doesn't care about them. So hence, it, it would just incentivize teachers to just leave, which is not something that we want in a teacher shortage crisis at the moment. So what can be done in order to mitigate or reduce the effects of teacher burnout and reduce the effects of teacher shortage? In order for these prevention matters to work and be implemented and be enforced, all parties involved must work together and must collaborate for the sake of the teachers. So the four major points is by enhancing professional development and training. Teachers feel more accomplished if they can see career progression, if they can continuously grow in their profession. So continuous personal growth is very important. And when it comes to dealing with secondary traumatic stress from students, being exposed to trauma from students, teachers should also be exposed to trauma awareness training or have some training on how to deal with trauma or how to deal with negative emotions in the working place with students. Improving workload management and working conditions. This is on the side of the school where school management should improve on the workload organization, what kind of workload is relevant for the teachers to have, and how to assign them, how to assign them effectively and efficiently to teachers, and improve resources in school. It means a type of physical resources like a good classroom, good working working lights, working tables, working projectors, all the resources needed for a teacher to conduct their classroom effectively. Strengthening support system and school culture. The school can encourage collaborative mentorship and peer support amongst teachers. Teachers can depend on other teachers to collaborate, share ideas, and work issues together, which is very important to not feel alone in the work environment. Feedback and recognition. So this is important as well. In order for the teacher to feel appreciated or to feel acknowledged, there should be feedback on their work, recognition on their efforts, and accomplishments. Implementing policy and systemic changes. This one in the context of the organization. Okay. Investment in technology integration. This is more than just chucking hardware into the teachers. This also includes training on how to use the technology integrated in school, consistent training, so that teachers feel more confident in implementing this technology and don't feel let down or discouraged by failures on adapting with this technology. And occupational health support. There should be a support system in place for teachers who are currently experiencing burnout and require a channel for help. So these are some of the prevention interventions that can be done. In conclusion, my final words is that teachers are essential in nurturing and prospering the future generation. If less teachers are ensuring our children are well informed and prepared for society integration, then the personal growth of our children can be stunted, and this can impact the growth of the global society as a whole. So, for teachers out there, please don't give up. Your profession is a noble one. And without you, we will have no future doctors, no future pilots, no future good mothers and fathers, no good future leaders of the world. You have an impact to the students, significant or otherwise. So don't give up. Teachers, we all love you. That is my presentation. Here are the references that I use for my presentation. Thank you again. Goodbye.